So 1 plus 1 equals 2. Did you hear me? I said 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, like Juan, like the name.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
You thought it was funny for kind of like an off-the-cuff little one-liner to start the podcast?
Yeah, it was
You think that I could redo it again? Do you think I could just do it a few times every episode from now on?
well, it would probably get old.
Old?
Yeah.
No, it's like the more you say it, that's what makes it funny. Jokes are funnier if you repeat them over
All right,
and over.
Ammar, I'm gonna lay it down to you. It wasn't a good joke.
What do you mean?
It wasn't a good joke.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it wasn't funny.
You never fucking believe in me.
You're right.
Welcome once again to the No Experience Podcast, the only show on the internet where two dudes with no expertise in anything are here to talk about everything. I'm Ammar Al-Abdullah.
And I'm Jared Hines.
And today, we've got a little bit of something special for you. To celebrate making it to 20 episodes, we're doing a little bit of a lightning round episode with some fan-submitted topics.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So, Jared, what wild hair up our ass led us to make this episode?
I don't know. You brought this up. You can explain the thought process.
Yeah.
I'm not doing your legwork.
Fair enough. I'm not mad at that. I just wanted to do something a little bit special for 20 episodes to dedicate to the fact that we have stuck this out despite relatively low viewership. We're doing this more as a hobby right now. We're doing this because it's just fun, just a fun little thing. But I think getting to 20 episodes kind of shows that we are in it for the long haul. We haven't missed a week. We haven't taken a week off. We've been recording consistently every week for these past couple of months. So I think this is just a bit of a celebration to the few people that are listening to us regularly, and in the hopes that maybe we'll get a few more listeners.
Yeah. I mean, this whole endeavor has felt really good. One of the most fulfilling things I've done so far. And I mean, it's just been a pleasant journey. So yeah, we're doing something special.
Yeah, it's been an awesome creative outlet more than anything. I think both of us need something creative to be doing every week, lest we go insane from just living an average normal life.
For sure. But we're going to be in here recording for an hour. So why don't we start that hour?
Yeah, why don't we kick it old school? So our first topic, this one comes to us courtesy of my mother, is what are some recent dreams you've been having, Jared? What's some recent stuff you've been dreaming about?
Oh, shit. God, I act surprised as if I don't know the topic list already. I mean, okay. So obviously, throughout this whole endeavor, I've been doing the editing for the audio. I've been processing all the audio and stuff.
Yeah, you do the hard part. I do the video editing, the easy part.
But like we were both in choir and stuff. Music is very close to my heart. So one of my not only recent dreams, but one of the dreams I've had for a long time has been doing music and getting familiar with FL Studio and a lot of my tools. I really do. I want to start doing music.
That's awesome. That's like awesome news, frankly.
Yeah. And I mean, aside from that, I like doing this podcast has been fun. So getting learned in the process of like mixing and mastering, not just music, but podcasts, just any digital audio, is also something I'm very interested in as of lately.
Sure. That's awesome. You're very I appreciate anybody who's willing to put a lot of effort into creative pursuits like that, like especially personal creative pursuits. So I think it's awesome that you're doing a little bit more music. You're getting a little bit more familiarized with some of the tools that can aid you in making better music. What have I been dreaming about recently?
I don't know. What have you been dreaming about recently?
That's a fucking good question, isn't it?
I already know.
Do you?
Yeah.
What have I been dreaming about recently, Jared?
I've seen it in your head at night.
Great.
I know what you dream about.
Well, what is it? I'd love to hear this.
French salad.
French salad.
Yeah.
You think I'm dreaming about French salad?
You are dreaming about French salad. That's the facts.
Close, but no cigar. I recently, one of my bigger dreams has been I've been watching a lot of Dimension 20 and Critical Role, D&D long form shows with like whole sessions recorded and published, and I'm kind of, one of my big dreams I've been having recently is starting one of those of my own. Just doing even if not like live sessions, because just with the nature of like how my players are, live sessions would be a lot of time wasted, a lot of inside jokes that people wouldn't get, and then maybe like 2 or 3 hours of D&D for what is like a 5-hour block of time. And I can't expect anybody to sit through those, but I've been thinking about starting like campaign diaries, just talking about, what's going on in the campaign, talking about stuff that I've learned and cute little skills that I've picked up while running for the group. Yeah, that's sort of been my most current dream. The thing I've been thinking about the most recently is doing something like that.
That could be dope, especially if you could get like some animation into it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You get like artwork of characters walking around and shit and talking. I think that would be dope. I think campaign journals are just super fucking cool.
It's interesting because you can learn a lot from it, right? Like hearing other people's stories of like the stuff that's going on in their D&D campaigns, and it can help you to run better D&D campaigns yourself, I think. I think it's very useful for that, personally.
That's fucking dope. You're also like one of the best DMs that I know, and albeit I only know a handful of DMs, but like you're the one that got me into D&D and made me fall in love with it. Like it's become such a big part of my life. So the prospect of seeing you take up an endeavor like that actually does make me really excited.
You're a freaking sweetheart, Jared. You know that? You're a total sweetheart.
Look, I live to suck your cock.
Absolutely. And you suck it good every time. I do appreciate that, though, right? Because oftentimes, and this is something that I wanted to talk about on the podcast, but didn't really know how to approach it or what episode would be appropriate for it. But we're gonna be here for an hour, so might as well talk about it now. And this is something that I think a lot of DMs struggle with, is insecurity, not knowing whether you're running a solid game, like a good game that the people are gonna love. I've been struggling with that a lot, especially recently, where I, am constantly insecure about the campaigns I'm running and constantly, struggling not to compare myself to like some of the big famous DMs who do this for a living. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Do you ever deal with that, like in artistic pursuits, where like you get insecure even though people praise your work?
All of the time. I've struggled with different forms of anxiety for years. And one of them has been like performance anxiety, and things like relating to that, like creation, and I want people to love the shit that I make. And what I ended up finding is that like the more that I thought about and I was like trying to engineer it to make it so that people would like it, the worse that it got. And I always found my best creations always lied when I stopped giving a fuck, where I was literally like, yeah, you know what, fuck it. No, I'm gonna make a fucking hamburger with tits.
What?
I'm gonna make a song about a hamburger with tits.
Why not?
Right? And then I'm gonna put that out. And you know what? Burger Man, indeed. That's fair, man. I think a lot of people could stand to have that mentality a little bit more. Is to really do their best to separate themselves from like what people might think of their art and just do it because you love it. Which we've talked about that a little bit in our elitism in art episode. It's just, but it bears repeating. I think a lot of people allow insecurity to sort of keep them from doing something that they love and that they're passionate about, and it's just a toxic mentality, and it will actively ruin your artistic pursuits for you, and that's just sad, and it's something that I think that all of us could stand to let rule our lives a little bit less. For sure. Oh no.
Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled this game foul to hear.
Right, so we had a little issues while we were recording, and we had to kind of like pick it back up.
Some technical difficulties. That's going to happen.
It happens.
That's showbiz, baby.
But you know what? It will happen less in the future.
Ideally.
Because we're professionals, and that means that we grow as we go.
Yeah, that's what professional means. So I mean, do any last minute thoughts on dreams, stuff you've been dreaming about recently? Any advice to dreamers out there?
Any advice to dreamers? God, it's tough, right? Because like I've had a ton of really big dreams, but I've never pursued them. This podcast is more of a smaller dream, but like it's incredibly fulfilling and nice. If I had a piece of advice, it would be one to get somebody to go in on it with you.
Oh yeah, having a partner in crime to pursue an artistic interest with you has been so fucking helpful for me.
It has been the most helpful thing ever.
Because we keep each other in line. We make sure we're being productive. We foster each other's creativity.
We keep each other on a schedule, roughly.
Yeah, roughly speaking, that's, two dudes with ADHD. It's hard to keep a consistent schedule, but we do our best.
Yeah, we do our best. But having somebody else to go in with you is probably the biggest thing that I could offer you.
It's like hitting a gym with like a partner, right? Somebody who pushes you and who nurses your abilities and who really wants to see you achieve, right? I agree. That's probably the best piece of advice that either of us could give, is just to find a partner, somebody who ignites creativity in you and go in on it with them.
Yeah. But that is our 10 minutes, roughly. So we're going to move on to the next topic.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. This one was also submitted by my mother. She was very kind and submitted a few topics for us to cover. Jared, what do you think about time travel?
Gosh, I feel like it's a really cool plot device when it's done right in like shows and movies, just stories.
Yeah.
Because I think it can be incredibly compelling. Because like it's kind of like puzzles. It grips you because like you've got, there's parts of it that you want to figure out. You want to piece it all together. And it doesn't all come together until the very end.
Yeah. It's a mystery plot device for sure.
Yeah.
The problem is, and the problem I've seen with a lot of narratives that try to do like time travel plots is that they rarely they hit a lot of like really obvious paradoxes, like the butterfly effect or the grandfather paradox, right? There's and some some fiction that I've seen has actually done a pretty good job avoiding those pitfalls. Like Avengers Endgame does a pretty good job avoiding a lot of the common pitfalls of time travel. Not to spoil too much about that movie. I think pretty much everyone has seen it at this point, but in it there's some time travel, and it kind of avoids a lot of those pitfalls by doing like a separate timeline structure, and I think that really helps that movie remain consistent and not get too bogged down in like the paradoxes that come with time travel.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things that you can do, though, is following along with like modern time travel theory and logic that has been discussed, because a lot of movies do rely on the like parallel world, separate timeline kind of deal, but it feels cheesy a lot of times, but when shows really go in ham on it and really, really engineer it very well, it just hits so much harder. If I were to give an example of a really, really good time travel show, I would have to say it would probably be this anime called Steins Gate. One of the most well-revered anime in modern day. It's based on time travel, and it's just super, super fucking good, and it really, really reins that in. And I think it does some like separate timeline stuff, but it's based off of like modern timeline theory, which is super cool. and it's a big fat puzzle, and it just feels so good to like rein in the pieces.
Yeah. I'm sure you can point to any number of media that's done the time travel plot very well, but simultaneously you could point to any number that have done it really badly. I think the biggest example in my friend group that I've seen recently is, and I was talking to my friend Kari. She's one of my like closest friends, and we were talking about Harry Potter and how the newest, like the most recent story in the Harry Potter timeline is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is a stage play that centers around time travel, and it's messy, and it doesn't work, right? Because like Harry Potter are mystery novels, right? Classically, they're mystery novels, kind of masquerading as like young adult fantasy. But they do kind of this time travel plot where Harry Potter's son goes back in time and saves a character who dies in one of the books. It's really messy and kind of ugly, and does not do a great job telling a good story with time travel, because it's hard, right? It's hard because you don't know like what contradictions you create when you do that.
It is a really finicky topic.
For sure. I think another interesting strata to explore time travel is have you ever seen Galaxy Quest?
No.
Okay, so Galaxy Quest is kind of a Star Wars, Star Trek parody movie. It's got Tim Allen in it. It's a very funny movie about space travel. But one of the things that happens at the end is they find this device that allows them at like a 6-second time jump. Like you can jump back in time for like 6 seconds and like change one thing. So if you had such a capability, right? Like if you could go back in time to any time in the history of the world, and change one mistake, we won't say 6 minutes. We'll say you get like half an hour to like change something. What would it be? What would you go back and change?
Fuck. God. I have to ask you, what is there repercussions to me changing it, aside from the repercussions that I'm specifically looking for?
We'll say no. We'll say that you can change one thing from history, and it yields generally beneficial effects.
That's tough, because humans are fucked, and we've done a lot of fucked up shit over our time on this earth.
That's exactly what makes a question like this difficult to answer.
Yeah. Like, what one thing would you go back and pick to unfuck? That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's obvious stuff, right, where it's like, oh, kill Adolf Hitler before the Holocaust, right? Like, that's, there's obvious stuff like that. But I think actually thinking about it and being like, which one do you pick? Which horrible thing do you go back and change?
You know what? This one's probably a little selfish, but I'd probably go back and try to convince Robin Williams to stay.
That's kind of sweet. That's kind of really sweet.
Yeah, he was a lot to many people, but I also feel like he deserved more out of life.
I think so. I think he deserved better than he got.
Yeah. How about you?
It's tough, right? Because it's like, I need to separate like my own selfish desires to change mistakes in my life versus it's like the needs of the many versus the needs of the few, right? Like I need to determine if it is worth it for me to go back and change only things that have happened in my life, or if I should change something more general that affects a greater number of people. I don't really know. So I'll give you an answer to both. I would say that if I could go back and change any one thing from the history of the world, it would be the burning of the Library of Alexandria. I don't know how I would do it, but I would do something that saves that library, because humanity as a species would be 1,000 years more advanced if that library had never burned down. That is, I think, the best possible option in terms of history, because you can argue that, if we're 1,000 years more advanced, that you avoid shit like the Holocaust, you avoid shit like, like the Second World War, you avoid the Vietnam War, you avoid You could point to any number of things. If we were more advanced and more enlightened as a people, that would be better if we had done it differently, having that information. In terms of my personal history, I honestly couldn't tell you. That one's a lot harder, right? It's harder for me to like look back at things in my life and be like, what would I change? What would I have if I had the power of like a time jump to go correct one thing from my past? What would it be? And that's hard to answer because I think it comes down to like something that a lot of people do as they grow up, and something that I've been struggling with a lot recently is reconciling who I am with what made me that way. You know, it's like so much of being a grown up, of like adult life, is finding ways to be at peace with who you are and, you know, how you got there, you know, like I was kind of I experienced like a lot of abuse and a lot of trauma growing up. So it's pretty hard for me to like reconcile. I'm like, am I the same person as who I am if I didn't go through those things? You know? So I think even if I had the chance, I don't think I would make a change in my own life.
That's fair. As for the Library of Alexandria, I think that's a very like clerically strong plan. I think that would be a good move. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Because we're only giving 10 minutes per topic here.
We're lightning round, baby. Got to cover it fast, cover it quick.
Gang.
So last one submitted by my mother. This one is about space exploration, which is frankly a bit topical considering what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos shooting off into space while, you know, his employees are starving and shit. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing that's going on right now. So Jared, what do you think about space travel? Do you think that the future of humanity lies in the idea that Earth is dying and we have to abandon it?
That's tough. I mean, I do think that if changes aren't made, like, we're going to fuck up our place on the Earth. I think there's plenty of the ways that, you know, Earth can take care of herself after we're gone and that kind of deal. But I think if we don't make changes, then we're not going to have our ability to have the ability to stay here, right? So if we're not going to change, then we have to look elsewhere, right? Because like we're running out of space. There's overpopulation issues. We're polluting the Earth, which can also in part be tied to overpopulation. And we got all these problems. So we need to move on, expand, fuck up other planets, apparently. Mars is obviously one of the most viable options to us because
it's one of the closest, for sure.
It's one of the closest. There's potential to terraform it. There's maybe a few other planets in the solar system, possibly.
I mean, it's such a thing where, I mean, if you got the resources, there's potential for terraforming anywhere, right? It's just, I look at it and I'm like, we got thousands of cities on this one ball of dirt. Why not just one on the moon, right? Just one. But that naturally brings up an interesting question. If tomorrow NASA came to you and offered you the opportunity to jump up in a spaceship, to hop in their rocket and go live on the moon, would you do it?
It depends, because if I'm just going there to live there, probably not. You know, if I'm going out into space, it's for some amount of purpose. Because otherwise it's just not worth it. So like if it were like a mission to Mars, right, and we were going there and the whole goal was like set up camp and terraform, you know, fuck yeah, I would be on that all the way, you know. But if it's just like I'm going to Mars or I'm going to the moon just to move there, no, it's not worth it to me.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's say they come to you and they say like that they want you to go to the moon to assist in building the first city there. You know, you are going to have an indelible effect on the life of humanity as we expand out into the stars. Would you do it then?
Yeah, there's a solid chance I would do it then. If they came up and offered that to me, yeah.
I mean, you don't necessarily know what job you're doing there. In terms of your level of experience, in terms of our level of experience, we'd be grunts. We'd be construction workers, basically.
Even that, I'd probably say yes.
Yeah, me too, right? Because it's like, and you don't necessarily need to stay there forever. You go there long enough to build the city. And I mean, the payment that you would get off of such an endeavor would be insane.
Oh, yeah, 100% I would do it.
First city on the moon, right? Like, I don't know. I could see that being an awesome opportunity, right? Let's expand it, right? Let's zoom out a little bit, right? Let's say, think like The Martian, right? Where they're like, what is, we're going to start moving people to Mars, right? We're going to start establishing permanent colonies on Mars. You're going to be a member of the first colony there. You're going to help build the first few colonies on Mars. This will take you the rest of your life. You will not get to come home. You will never see any of your friends or family again. You will basically resign yourself and dedicate the rest of your life to this journey and to this project. Would you do that?
It's tough because there are a lot of people here that I love and I don't want to leave. But if you caught me in the right mood, yeah, if you caught me in the right mood, I would do that.
You think so?
Like in a heartbeat.
Interesting. See, for me, the answer is pretty much always going to be no, right? Like, if NASA came to me tomorrow and offered me any of the above, my answer is pretty much always no. Except for maybe building the city on the moon, and getting paid to do that, because that's not a permanent gig. That's not the rest of my life gig. That's a year or two up on the moon, maybe 3 years on the moon. And then I come back and I'm set for life here on Earth, right? A lot of people, have a dedication to the idea that Earth is our homeland, right? That this is where we make our stand, and, there's nowhere we could really migrate to in the near future. It's tough to say, right? It's tough to be like, it's tough to put yourself in that headspace of like, I'm going to explore infinity, right? There's all endless space out there and all these other planets, and we're going to explore them. But at the same time, there's endless dangers that we don't even know about. It's tough. It's a tough thing to definitively say if you would do or not. But I know, at least for me, anything that is that permanent, the answer will always be no.
You wanna hear something depressing?
Always, perpetually.
Because of the speed that the universe is expanding at, all of these solar systems and galaxies are actively, not solar systems, but galaxies are actively expanding away from each other. And it's to the point that, as it stands now, unless we got some sort of like sci-fi ass warp travel, we will never be able to reach them. And in fact, there's going to come a point where we'll never even be able to see another star in the sky because light will not be able to travel fast enough to reach those other galaxies. It will just be a night sky of black and our star, and we will be perpetually locked into our solar system for the rest of time. And there will come a time where if humans continue to go, or a new intelligent species evolves, they will never know what a starry night sky looked like, or that there even were stars in the sky.
That brings up an interesting thing that I was thinking about the other day. You know that there's fast approaching a time where children in our world, a lot of them, will never know the joy of the first snowfall of winter?
No shit?
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? With global warming being as it is, give it 20 to 30 years, and there will be a time where in the hottest parts of the world, a child will never see a snowfall.
That is fair. I mean, there are already places in the world where it outright doesn't snow.
Yeah. And that's one thing, to grow up in that environment, as a climate, right? But like, it's fast approaching a time where the only places where snowfall will be seen is in the extreme north.
Yeah.
Or south, as the case may be, though I don't know how many people are out there living in Antarctica.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine surviving school without snow days.
Right? Me either. I just love snow. I love the cold, which is why global warming is especially depressing to me, because
fuck the heat, dude. Fuck summer.
Yeah, fuck summer, dude. If I could live the rest of my life and never have to see another summer, it'd be too long. It'd be too short. I'm ready for a world with endless fucking winter.
straight up, or just like fall,
Even autumn,
yeah,
or spring where it's cold winds but kind of warm. Even that's fine. I just summer sucks. It's just hot.
Yeah, fuck summer.
Fuck summer.
Swiftly moving on.
Yeah. Let's take a walk on.
Because I'm pretty sure we capped off that topic pretty well.
We've kind of explored a lot of what we have to say about that topic. So let's go ahead and move on. All right. This one was submitted to us by my girlfriend Angelica. She is the sweet light of my life, and as such, she provided us a topic to talk about. She wanted to hear us talk about the indie boom of 2012. How much have I told you about this, Jared, if anything?
You've told me a little bit about it, in particular when these songs were like hitting the top 10 on the Billboard charts, but not a whole lot. It's not something I know very much about.
Okay, cool. So let me give you the long and short of what the indie boom of 2012 was. So Todd in the Shadows is this. So there's a YouTuber by the name of Todd in the Shadows. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but he does pop song reviews. He's very talented. He makes very good content. I love the videos he makes. And he used to have this great, I guess you could call it like a rhetorical device where he would talk about how for years the pop charts were dominated by kind of club music, like sort of standard club hop type music, your pit bulls, your flow riders, your your ushers, that kind of, your will.i.am, right? Like that kind of music where it's like it's club pop basically. But every so often, I think what he called it was like the indie band sweepstakes, which was one indie band would get a song on the charts that would chart really high on Billboard. Good examples are like Viva La Vida by Coldplay. Like that's a great example where it was a indie kind of alt rock song on the pop charts when most of the pop charts was dominated by hip hop. Similarly, Fireflies by Owl City. That was another song where it's kind of a weird alty synth pop song in a time where the main music was all like club hop. And this went on for a long time, like years and years until about 2012. And then 2012, summer of 2012, I remember it like it was yesterday because it was my freshman year of high school, a very bad time in my life. So I remember very vividly when this happened. In 2012, actually, I don't think that would have been my freshman year, but I do remember it. So in 2012, we had three indie type songs with sounds kind of unique to, what you would have seen on the pop charts at the time, suddenly fighting for the top three spots. Those songs were Royals by Lorde, We Are Young by Fun, and Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier. Those three songs for months were fighting for the top spot, like an entire summer. We're fighting for the number one spot on Billboard, in a landscape where the most popular artists were recording club hop. And I think that you can point to that as being the shifting point for the pop landscape to where now most pop music has a distinctly sad boy indie sound. It's arguable that without those three songs, you don't get Ed Sheeran topping the pop charts. You don't get Billie Eilish topping the charts. You don't get people like Drake and The Weeknd kind of doing their, doing hip hop, obviously, but doing a much more raw, sadder version of hip hop. You don't get Adele, really, if that, big indie boom didn't happen. And then 2013 rolls around and Macklemore drops Thrift Shop, and that was the final nail in the coffin, where it was like, club hop is dead. Indie music rules the pop charts now, and has for the past 8 years now. So that's kind of what the indie boom of 2012 was. You got any questions about that, Jared?
Questions, no, but thinking about it, if I had to pick one spot that really kicked off what seems today to be artists really delving into just not conforming to any specific genre, it would probably be that. You see that a lot nowadays, and it's probably because of this, artists just they'll like they'll borrow from genres, but it's not like they're trying to create in that specific box, you know. And so I'm not trying to say that we should get rid of genres, no more fucking labels, shit like that. I think that having genre is valuable in its own right, if only for the fact that we can borrow from it. But I think it's beautiful that these musicians are creating stuff that they want to make without consideration of sticking it in any one of these boxes.
Well, yeah, because you no longer have to create a specific type of song to chart on Billboard anymore. You can have a number one hit that's completely just its own strange thing, right? Like, you know, Kanye was Kanye was charting on the billboards with fucking Ultralight Beam back in 2016, a song that never would have charted before 2012, I don't think. Because if you even look at Kanye's hits before 2012, it's shit like Stronger, which is, or Gold Digger, which are very clearly like club hop songs that sample popular artists. And then he releases Ultralight Beam on Life of Pablo in 2016, and that songs like that can suddenly hit Billboard and thrive there. But even The Weeknd, right? He also collabed with Daft Punk and released Starboy, which is like really fucking out there in terms of like what songs are like considered good club hop songs, right? And then in 2018 he releases Blinding Lights, which is just an insane fucking song that I could not imagine would have charted if it had came out in 2005. So, I like that. I like artists having the ability to do weird shit, different shit, stuff that's like this, couldn't have charted 10 years ago, but, now we're living in 2021 and we owe all of that to Lorde, Fun, and Gautier, three artists who don't really make charting music anymore, but paved the path for this new generation of pop music.
It really is, the music industry fucking changing. Times are changing. And I don't think it just ends there with, musicians living outside the box. But, with the onset of the pandemic, right, I feel like that was a really big trigger for something that was already going to happen in the industry for a long time. It's just like this really kicked it off. Professional studios are dying, right? Professional recording studios are going out of business. Even the biggest ones are kind of falling out, and it's all moving to home recording, home studios, home production.
Well, yeah, it's because you can do all of it from home now.
Yeah, exactly. With the onset of all this new hardware, technology, software, it's become way more accessible for even one person to just do it all by themselves, or to just get like a few people to do it together rather than paying hundreds, thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and without the creative oversight that large record labels require, right? You can really get weird with it.
Mm-hmm. And you get to run on your own schedule. Record labels would fucking break the shit out of artists with these schedules and these limitations. And it's a big reason why they fucking suck.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, love him or hate him. Look at Justin Bieber, for example. The boy has released a lot of experimental, strange music these past couple of years, basically talking about his experience of like being, from childhood, an artist in the limelight, right? And it's interesting to watch his shift, right? If you look at like Justin Bieber's music from like 2009 to like 2011, it's standard like club hop, just with a very young singer, right? And these days he's talking about like how sad and depressed he is and how fucking lonely it is when you're like one of the top recording artists and you constantly have eyes on you and shit,
Straight up. So, the what's the word I'm looking for?
That's a fantastic question. What do I look like, a fucking mind reader?
Yes.
I'm not. I don't know what word you're looking for, man.
All right. Well, the lesson here, I guess, is don't sign with a label.
Yeah,
go
if you can do it indie,
yourself.
do it, because the fucking creative freedom, the lack of any sort of strict deadline, it's good for you. If you are a prospective artist, shoot for the indie scene. Shoot to do it yourself. That's the kind of shit people appreciate anyway. At this point in pop music,
straight up. Don't listen to anybody who's like, oh, this kid needs to get signed, or like, you need to get signed. Don't. They don't know shit. Don't listen to them. Signing yourself over to a label is suicide.
Yeah, it's perpetuating an ugly capitalist myth. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't buy into it. I don't. You shouldn't.
Straight up.
So I think that's a pretty good spot to move on to our next one.
Gang.
All right. This next topic was submitted by a good friend of mine, Cage Hawker. He is a friend of mine from high school. We did a little bit of choir and music shit together. We've been, pretty decent friends, and he has been listening to our podcast. He's one of our day ones, one of our OGs, and
we love you.
We love you very much, Cage. Thank you for listening. Thank you for submitting topics. And he wants to know about a dessert preference. The way that he phrased the question was, he said, cake, cheesecake, or pie. What's it going to be, Jared? When the chips are down, when the time comes for you to select a dessert, what's it going to be?
Man, this is another paper situation. We have to stretch this out over 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the other side of that fucking conversation.
All right. Well, in light of that, I'm going to start with the ones that are not my pick. The first one being, what were they?
Cheesecake, cake, or pie, baby?
Right. Pie.
Really? Not a pie man?
Not a pie man. Straight up. It's just like, it's just kind of reminiscent of, it's just got this vibe to it, right? It's kind of like those candies that your grandma would give you. They're in like the strawberry print wrappers or whatever.
Oh, I know all about those.
And it's just like, I'm not into it, and not because it's bad, but just because, like, not only is it not my thing, it feels outdated. It feels old, and just like a combination of all these things, I don't enjoy it. It's not an enjoyable experience to me.
Okay, so you're definitely not into fruit pies then.
No.
Okay, what about like cream pies? Like a good Boston cream or a lemon meringue or a key lime.
Well, yeah, cream pies are good.
You like cream pies?
Yeah.
Now that's interesting to me, Jared, because so you don't have a problem with pies as a concept. It's just fruit pies specifically.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. It's fruit pies.
Okay. Which is the most common form of pie, one would think. I can see why you might not like them. A lot of people don't like hot fruit. I can understand that. That's fair.
I don't like the way you put that. Something about saying hot fruit makes me uncomfortable.
Is it because you're a hot fruit, Jared?
Maybe.
Is that offensive? Is that not PC? Should I not say that? I mean, it's too late now. It's on recording. I just want to know if I'm about to get canceled.
Man, you are one hot fruit. You know that?
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah, that's...
Also, the crust on pies is usually unpleasant to me.
It's dry.
It's dry. It's crumbly and not in a good way.
So I take it in that case, that's a problem that you share about cheesecake, isn't it?
Actually.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
We're going to talk about cake now, because cake it's weird, because like just cake mass, is not my thing. If it's just the cake itself, if I'm going to have cake, it needs to be like slathered in frosting. Because when it comes to cake, I don't actually like cake. I don't like the cake.
Cake is sweet bread. It's just a delivery system for other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's why I don't eat just straight slices of bread.
Yeah, it's why you wouldn't just have fucking toast. You got to put like avocado, a little bit of salt, some sun-dried tomatoes, right?
Exactly. It needs to go with something. And in this case, it needs to be lathered in something else. It needs to be fucking just filled with frosting.
Okay, so what about an ice cream cake? What do you think about that?
Ice cream cakes, there's something that I really loved as a kid, and that's what I would always get for my birthday because I was fucking into it. But nowadays, along with ice cream in general, it just feels kind of subpar now and gimmicky.
A little bit
more
samey,
than anything.
Sure.
So not super my thing.
So you're not a cake man, not really.
Yeah.
You like a specific kind of cake.
Yeah, a very specific kind of cake. The kind of cake that's barely cake at all.
Yeah, the kind of cake that's 10% cake, 90% frosting.
Yeah,
that's fair. I'm not mad at that.
That aside, chocolate lava cakes.
Oh yeah,
those fucking slap.
They fuck. Yeah,
they fuck. They are schwangin'.
To George P. Burdell, the inventor of the chocolate lava cake. Nice job, man.
Yeah,
That
good
shit's
stuff.
tasty.
Yeah.
That was a callback to our Wikipedia episode. Go back and watch it if you want to find out who George P. Burdell is.
Yes, give us more views.
Nice little bit of cross promo there. Selfless, shameless self-promotion, baby.
Moving on to my pick, it's cheesecake. I've loved cheesecake for a long
You're a
time.
cheesecake man?
Yeah, it slaps for me. Like, it just, especially like a New York cheesecake, a really good one. Oh,
Okay, sure.
it wraps back around to being unpleasant though if it's too rich, as with most like
Well, 'cause
pastries.
it's cream cheese, right? So if it's too thick, it's like it's coating the inside of your mouth.
Well,
it's
it's
nasty.
not just about it being thick. It's about it being rich specifically. As with like most pastries and sweets, if it's too rich, I can only eat like a couple bites before it's like,
Yeah.
I can't eat any more of this.
till
or
it
else
hits
I'm
like a rock
suffering.
in your tummy. Yeah, I know all about that.
Anyways, what's your
So surprisingly, I am in opposition to you on this one. Cheesecake is at the bottom of my list.
Oh.
Here's the thing. I like desserts. I like sweets. They're tasty and they're good. But when it comes down and it comes time to pick what sweets I'm going to eat, cheesecake's at the bottom of the list for me, man. If I have the choice, I just don't like it, Something about it tastes funky to me, Something about it tastes a little bit too cheesy to me, right? Which is why I can live with cheesecakes that are like of flavors that can overpower the tang, the cheesy funkiness about it. Which is why my favorite types of cheesecake are like chocolate, because chocolate is a very potent flavor and is strong enough to like overcome that. But if it's like a vanilla cheesecake or something like that, I'm like, this is just gross. This tastes like I'm eating cheese, and I don't like that. Not a fan. Not for me.
I actually love cheese, but I
love cheese, but I love cheese in context.
That's fair. I've actually grown to not like chocolate flavors anymore.
Is that so? Jared, expand on that a little bit for me, would
I
you?
just don't. It got old. Because and even just straight chocolate now, it's just it doesn't taste very good anymore. It just feels it just tastes really rich and sweet, but not what I'm looking for. I'm generally a vanilla man. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a coconut guy through and through.
Coconut also fucking slaps. But if it's between vanilla and chocolate, it's always going to be vanilla for me.
Yeah, sure.
Because chocolate just feels it's not good. It doesn't taste good, and it feels.
Well, have you ever had? Because here's the thing: American chocolate is actually different from chocolate around the world. Have you ever had British chocolate?
You know what? That's fair. I'm not sure if I have.
Okay. Do you know what the difference is?
No.
So, American chocolate. We're going on a slight digression here before I get to what my actual favorite dessert is, but we got time, so it's okay. So American chocolate, when it was being, beginning to be mass produced in America, they were having trouble keeping it shelf stable for a long time. They were having trouble keeping it in a state where it would be stable on the shelves, right? So the way that they fixed that is using fermented milk. They would boil the milk and ferment it and use that cultured milk, which is why American chocolate has a slight, like a funk, like a tang to it almost, that you will not find in British chocolates, because British chocolate and chocolate from like France or Switzerland uses like regular milk. They don't culture it, they don't ferment it, and it tastes it's a lot sweeter. It's a lot sweeter, less tangy, which I don't like as much. I like that sort of funky flavor when it comes to chocolate, but that might be something worth trying, is giving a shot to some British chocolate.
That's fair. I will say one thing. Milk chocolate is primarily what I hate the most. I actually kind of fuck with dark chocolate, but only sometimes.
Yeah, dark chocolate's the premier choice for me. There's nothing quite like a candy bar that is dark chocolate and salted caramel. That shit is delicious, and I'll fight anyone to the death over it, frankly. But back to the idea of what my favorite desserts are. I would put, like I said, cheesecake's at the bottom. Pie outshines cheesecake for me because it is a similar consistency to cheesecake, but not nearly as like funky and tangy as like the cheese flavor in cheesecake will make it. So like, fuck me up with a Boston cream pie. Shove a key lime up my ass. Give me an apple pie. Give me a strawberry. Give me a cherry. Give me any of it. I love pies. That shit is delicious.
That's one hot fruit.
That is a hot fruit. I'm sitting across from a hot fruit in the closet right now.
Just a couple of hot fruits right here, a couple of bananas.
Yeah, that was a loaded statement. But in terms of my favorite cake, really, of these three options, no pun intended, takes the cake. It does. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, no, cake is fucking delicious. I love that sweet, sweet bread shit. Similar to you, I don't like just plain cake. I like it when it's a delivery system for something else, for some frosting or some fruit or some ice cream, right? Like, but cake is good. Cake is good because it's multifaceted. It's got a diverse array of options. You got devil's food, you got angel food cake, you got ice cream, you got buttercream, frosting. It's delicious. Fruit pies, strawberry shortcakes are fucking delicious. That shit is good. That's gas. All right. That's the thing that sustains me, is a good strawberry shortcake with the whipped cream and the jellied strawberries. Good stuff. Tasty. Frankly, none of these three options would be my first pick anyway.
What would be your first pick?
It's brownies.
Oh my God, yes.
It's fucking brownies.
Straight up, 100%.
When it comes down to it, when the chips are down, if I get my choice of any dessert, cakes, pies, and cheesecakes get their absolute shit, dick, and asses handed to them by brownies. Brownies are fucking delicious. A nice a la mode, a brownie with a little bit of scoop of freaking vanilla ice cream. Are you kidding me? There's fewer, greater pleasures in this world, Jared.
Brownies are the shit. Yeah.
You ever had a brownie with a mochi on top?
No.
That shit's delicious. It's good. That's good stuff. I think we're scraping at the bottom of the barrel about the dessert thing.
Yeah, let's move on.
So how about we move on to our last topic for the day? This one also submitted by Cage Hawker, one of our day ones. A good man. Love him dearly. He wants to know about our favorite memories or episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. So we both grew up during the SpongeBob era, I think.
Yeah.
Like primetime SpongeBob era television.
Yeah. I watched a lot of SpongeBob when I was growing up. But the thing is, I can't remember a whole lot of it.
Really?
Yeah. 'Cause, like, obviously I'll remember the ones that have been prominent for the memes.
Sure. Those are the obvious ones.
Those are the obvious ones. But aside from that...
I have a definitive answer to this if it would help you to hear mine first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, for me, I loved SpongeBob growing up. It was one of my favorites. When it came time to sit down for some fucking cartoons to veg out and, rot away my mental and physical health, SpongeBob was what I would always turn on. So when I found out that SpongeBob was getting a fucking movie... Oh, holy garbanzo beans. I watched the shit out of that movie. I remember vividly, Jared. Let me take you back in time. Let me take everyone back in time. I'm a 6-year-old boy living in Nampa, Idaho. And my mommy comes home and says, hey, you want to go see a movie? And I'm like, yeah, let's go see the SpongeBob movie. It just came out. She's like, okay, we'll go see the SpongeBob movie. And we go to the theater. We buy our tickets. We get the popcorn. We get the drinks. We get the slushies. We get the candy. All right. And we walk into an empty theater, Jared. A theater with nobody in it. I got to experience the SpongeBob movie for the first time in a theater with nobody in it.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Jared. And let me tell you, nary a better experience is there than experiencing the SpongeBob SquarePants movie for the first time on a wide-ass movie screen with nobody there.
I'm surprised. I'm actually amazed that theater was empty.
You would be surprised. I was surprised, but I was happy about the situation. I got any seat I wanted. I got to sit dead in the middle and didn't have to listen to any shitheads laughing.
Yeah.
Except for me. I was the laughing shithead, but there was nobody there for me to annoy. That was a great experience. And the SpongeBob movie is probably one of the best, most successful transitions from cartoon to movie that I've ever seen. Like, the sense of humor, they don't lose a single bit of it. They just stretch it out for a longer time. It's very good. That movie is awesome. And I'll go to my grave carrying that opinion.
You know what? I think I'm going to go a little out of the box with this one. In that it's not actually a memory of the show or the movie.
Okay.
The memory of one of the products.
Okay, I'm listening.
So when I was very young, when I would visit my dad on the weekends, he he always tried to do fun stuff with me and spoil me and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
One of those ways is that whenever we had the opportunity, pretty much, and we would hear that ice cream truck going by, he would take me out. And you know where this is going.
You'd get them ice cream bars, wouldn't you, Jared?
Yeah, I would specifically get that SpongeBob, like modeled after SpongeBob.
Yeah, where the eyes were always in the wrong spot.
Yeah. And they were like hard candy. No, they weren't hard candy.
They were gum.
Yeah, they were gum. Oh my god. Fuck. I'm unlocking memories here. That shit would slap so hard. And because I was a kid, I obviously the SpongeBob popsicle radiated with me like no other popsicle.
Oh yeah, that's resonation right there, baby. You're unlocking fucking core memories in me as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's very important to me because like it was a very pleasant memory from a young age with my father.
Nostalgia, man. That's fucking nostalgia's a good thing. Everybody loves nostalgia.
Yeah. It's particularly nice considering my father's brain is a milkshake now, but you know.
Well, fuck me.
A context that nobody gets to have for like a minute.
Yeah, not until we have established that it's okay to share personal details will you get the context for that fucking statement.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it. You know what? I think that's a great fucking thing, man. The ice cream bars, I'm nostalgic for those myself. But for me, it's got to be the SpongeBob movie. That shit, seeing it for the first time, seeing the pirates singing the theme song, seeing the seeing the Hasselhoff, seeing him ride on Hasselhoff in that movie.
Dude, the fucking, it was so, what a weird choice. What a weird
because
choice.
No kid is going to know who David Hasselhoff is.
Yeah.
That's just there for the parents.
I know. You know what? That's one of my favorite things about kids' shows, though, is how much they actually put in for parents to enjoy. That shit just means so much to me.
Because kids will drag you. Kids will drag you to the fucking theater to see those movies. You need some adult shit.
Yeah, it's incredibly considerate to the parents.
I think so. I agree. I mean, there's a level at which it becomes cringe, and it's like, okay, well, too much. But like in most instances, funny stuff. Yeah. David Hasselhoff in SpongeBob the movie. It's fucking sick.
Did you see how they did the Hasselhoff surfing on the surfboard?
Yeah, they had like a big wax model.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird.
That shit is funny.
I think he like posed for a picture next to it and everything.
That's great. Yeah, man. So as far as favorite memories of SpongeBob, those would be the ones. For you, the ice cream bars. For me, seeing the movie for the first time in an empty theater. We want to thank everybody for submitting topics, but I think that's about where we're gonna wrap.
Yeah.
It's getting stuffy in this closet.
Yeah, it was very pleasant and everything, but we're sick of this closet.
Yeah.
We need a break. We're done here. So thank you for listening to the No Experience podcast. It was nice to have you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get in on something like this in the future, if we ever do another one, feel free to email us topics at the No Experience podcast. We might get around to them.
All those links are in the description. You can, send those emails into us, and we will do another lightning round in the future if if there's enough of a demand.
Yeah, and once again, if you like this, feel free to subscribe, leave us a like. We are on Twitter as well, at the Donging Man. That's Ammar's Twitter, and we are on Facebook, the No Experience podcast, where you can get short little snippets of our episodes before we post them. Just little spoilers and just bits that we think you might like.
Just a cute little something to hold you over. We're also actually advertising on TikTok now. I've started dropping clips from the podcast there. If you want to follow us on TikTok, I will put the link to that in the description. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it is my personal TikTok, so, come on over, catch the laughs.
Gang, thank you for coming. We hope you have a nice day. Bye.
Bye-bye.